Okay, I've had a couple of emails about problem number 25 from the 1.4 MOER homework. So this is not going to be the exact problem that any of you had, but it's going to be fairly similar. So we want to find the domain of this function. Now, what you'll notice about this function is, number one, it has a denominator. So let's remind ourselves of that rule. The denominator cannot equal to 0, but it also has a square root. So we have two rules we have to worry about. What's under the square root, which is called the radicand, must be greater than or equal to 0. So let's go ahead and start with denominator. In the denominator, we have the square root of 3 minus x. This cannot equal 0. Now, how do we solve a square root equation? We square both sides. So this becomes 3 minus x cannot equal 0. Now, I'm going to stop there for just a minute because I want to, well, you'll just see. Let me just stop there for a minute. So let's go over to the second one, which is that the radicand needs to be greater than or equal to 0. The radicand is 3 minus x. So 3 minus x needs to be greater than or equal to 0. Now, if you'll notice, these two things are fairly similar. This one says 3 minus x needs to be greater than or equal to 0. This one says 3 minus x cannot equal 0. Both of them have to be true. So what we can actually do is we can put the two together. And when we put them together, what we end up with is 3 minus x not is greater than or equal to 0. Remember, it's not allowed to be equal to 0. So we can go ahead and just erase the equal to. And then what we're really solving here, when we put the two together, we're solving 3 minus x is greater than 0. Because remember, the restriction on the left gets rid of the equals 0. So all we're left with is greater than 0. So one way to solve for x is to subtract 3. Subtraction does not reverse the inequality. Whoops, sorry, no equal sign there. I'm sorry about that, my bad. Subtraction does not reverse the inequality. Then we need to divide both sides by -1. Dividing by a negative number does reverse the inequality. So this inequality becomes positive x is less than positive 3. So we don't include 3. We're going to shade to the left. We want to be less than 3. So as an interval notation, we go from -infinity to 3. That doesn't look like a 3. Let's make that look like a 3. I started to write -3 and then I realized it was positive 3. So -infinity, comma, 3. And that's going to be our final answer right there. Hope that helps.